Alright guys, how y'all doing? Let's see. I guess I'll go ahead and start. I'm just gonna talk about some good things, motivation stuff. It's the day before Easter, so um, maybe I'll tell a couple stories. Who knows? No idea. I'm just gonna talk today. I think I'm feeling depressed. I'll be honest. I've been feeling depressed. What am I gonna do? So anyway, my name is Daryl Phillips, owner of New Apology Gaming, and what we do here is listen to you talk. But today, I'm just gonna talk. We don't. Sophia's family is 1,000 miles away, and my family doesn't talk to me anymore, so I'm not gonna see family. So I got you guys. By the way, now I've got to learn how to use it because I've never actually. I've got to learn how to go different places and use this thing that I just bought a laptop. Yeah, I bought a laptop. Got it already set up for OBS, so I will be able to film outside now for YouTube, which is so cool. I want to do different things so that it's not always inside. I can't stand the fact that it's always the same view. It's pretty boring. As you guys know, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, and I have to learn how to do certain things, like graphically speaking, so that I make these lives better. I don't want to. You can't keep doing the same things and thinking people are going to watch. But it is the day before Easter. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I talk about all sorts of things. Normally, I'm not so down, but I have been lately. Like I said a couple days ago. I know that I'm going through depression right now. It happens like that sometimes. But that doesn't mean you don't do. It doesn't mean I'm going to lay in bed all day being depressed. So, thing is, there's a lot of people that don't have family like me out there. And when I was homeless a long time ago, holidays were awful for me. Excuse me. They were kind of awful for Dwan too, but I know they were awful for me. Awful for me. Because, excuse me, I keep hiccuping. Sorry. Because, for one thing, you're homeless. And it's depressing watching all these people be happy, and they're going to different houses, and you should watch the families together, and it just makes you really depressed when you're like that. And number two, because everyone else is doing their thing, no one is out, which means that if you're trying to panhandle or trying to make money on the streets, you can't do that. So holidays, I couldn't stand holidays. And the thing is, eventually I became such a sourpuss that by the time I met Sophia, I was pretty bad. It's pretty awful to be around. I was drinking heavily when I met her, and so holidays were awful. And it's just. But now, I'd say up until Dwan passed away, holidays had been better. Now, I'm not gonna say that they're worse. They're different. I'm different. I deal with my problems differently. Um, I don't go into the bottle. So instead of me being depressed and going into the bottle on a holiday weekend, I'm here talking to you guys. It's strange, right? Um, but it's good. But I should have brought my laptop over here to show you guys next time. Okay. Um, I love it personally. Remember I've got two cameras, so I'll be able to hook the camera up to the OES. Oh yes, and you know what's cool? These. Hold on, I'll show you one second. One second. Okay. See the little microphone? It's got an adapter. Well, this I plug into my phone, right? So that I can have better audio for my Facebook Live or whatever. Well, I can also use these on my laptop. I already tried it out. So this does so now now I have a good mic for my YouTube. So in other words, even though I won't be on this mic for my YouTube lives if I go out of the house, the cool part is you guys are going to get to see me at the coffee shops, at parks. It won't be like this. So I will learn how to use it. I bought a little bag that went along with it, but I like that. I like that. It's a good laptop. But you know, I was having a conversation with Sophia about the past. There was one point in time that I guess it was about 6 or 7 years in, maybe 8 years in. I guess right around 2015, 14, 15, 16, that I had made the decision because of my stomach to stop doing the website that I used to have. And because I almost died like that, and for anybody who doesn't know, I almost died in 2013. I had 5 blood transfusions. It was awful, right? And because of that, I was trying to. I had started a website. I was trying to get into starting a business, but I decided. Now Sophia let me make the decision, but I decided to stop doing that. But there's a point in time there, about 14, 15, 16, something like that, where I had been okay with my decision. But I started about, I don't know, 2 years into it. I started to get frustrated. I would get angry at the radio, and I literally would start debating the radio. Silly, right? And because they would say something that I didn't agree with, and I would vent it out right to the radio. And there's this tension inside me that kept building and building and building. Because I always felt like that I was meant for something better than just being on SSI. But I didn't think I could run a business. I didn't think I could do anything like this. So I didn't. But nonetheless, I started to get frustrated. Okay? Then, around the time Dwan came, and because Dwan came, that's when I came up with the idea of no apologetic gaming. The reason why I'm telling you this story is, as I just said to you when I started talking earlier, holidays were awful for me. They were awful for this reason, because I didn't have anything. Not things, not like things, but I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything that I truly, my family was like they are, and so forth and so on. And so it's not like I had weekends. I didn't go out. It's not like I went out and partied or something. But I didn't have anything. I didn't have something that I loved. Okay. And for those that are religious, tomorrow's not just Easter. It is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's the idea of renewal, the idea of you're starting over. Well, I think that what I teach, what Dwan was teaching, is really apropos for tomorrow. Because if you think about it, what I did to my mind was renew my mind. I was frustrated. I thought I was meant for something better, and I was. And then eventually I did it, okay? One of the things that I press on here is knowledge, not just action. So you have the knowledge of something, okay, and you press into action. You don't get to ask forgiveness, for example, from God. And I can show you this in the Bible, that you're not just going to ask forgiveness from God and He doesn't expect you to act. Right? That's where I get the concepts of what I teach. The idea of want to, the idea of ambition. You have to want to be saved, for example. You have to want to repent. That's confession. You have to want to take that advice. What advice is that? Well, God says to be baptized. And then you have to go out and contemplate what the preacher was telling you. Right? And knowing you're not alone, you have to act. Faith through obedience. Now, I'm not God, and nor do I would I ever claim to be. And nor is there some sort of penalty for not obeying. What I would suggest to you, though, is the things that I talk about are not just about the thought process. You do have to act. Talking about changing means nothing. You have to change. You have to repent. Metanostiate ke baptizo. That's the Greek phrase. Metanostiate being to change your mind, to the knowledge. That's where the word know comes from. K-N-O-O-W. Comes from the Greek word. Gnosos, or however you pronounce it. It's the idea of knowledge, the renewing, the renewing of your mind. In reality, the steps, for example, the very last step, looking back and saying what's next, is the idea of a continuing process of renewing your mind. It's a continuing process all the way to the end of your life. The Apostle Paul says, I run as though I have not finished the race. In other words, you don't run. You guys ever watch sprinters or runners? where the runner gets a little too excited and he thinks he's got his first place and he starts to slow down at the end of the race and all of a sudden someone passes him. That's bad because that person did not run all the way through. When you tackle in football, they tell you to tackle through your opponent. So when you hit someone, you don't hit that person. You hit through that person. It's a solid hit. Make contact. Same thing with baseball and the baseball bat and the ball. The idea is, Paul also says, I do not, what do you say? I do not beat against the wind. There's shadow boxing. Shadow boxing, great to practice your technique. But in the end, you're going to have to get in the ring and fight. You're going to have to get bruised up. Reading your Bible all day long, okay, is how you get the knowledge. But unless you go out there and actually do the actions, it means nothing. Coming on here to my lives, listening to me talk, and just listening means nothing. And you will change nothing. I'm just a great bit of entertainment for you for 5 minutes. One thing that me and Dwan talked about, one thing that we wanted to make sure that we got across to everyone that ever watches our videos, is the idea of there has to be an attitude about this. Tomorrow is the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the anniversary of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And for those who are Christians, you're going to understand what I'm about to say. If you're not a Christian, I apologize for this part if you're not a religious person. But it is Easter tomorrow. Or it is the resurrection of Christ tomorrow. Check this out. After Jesus got off the cross, or after they got him off the cross, excuse me, after he rose from the dead, why did the people that came up to him, Mary Magdalene and things like that, why didn't they recognize him? What's the reason for that? Why didn't they know that was Jesus? Remember, they didn't recognize him because the Roman soldiers and the the Sanhedrin beat that man so bad they disfigured him. Now, put your head in that. I don't want to think about that. You need to think about it because he did it for you. He went through that pain and suffering for you. They beat him till he was disfigured. It's cruelty of spitting on someone and slapping him and insulting him, that so forth and so on. You know the story, and if you don't, actually put your mind into it. Same thing with this. Now, not the same thing, because I'm not Jesus, nor did I get the crap beat out of me. But my life, for example, all of the things that I went through, me and Dwan talked about this before he passed away. Before Dwan passed away, we asked a question last year around this same time. Me and him talked to each other about this all the time. Why did it take us so long to get it through our heads? Why am I 46 years old just now getting it? Why? That's so frustrating to me. Why it took me so long. One, I wasn't ready to accept it. Two, how could I truly have helped somebody? I don't care how much I know about the Bible. How much it's better if I take my stories, the pain and suffering I went through, okay, and have actual, along with knowledge, have the knowledge go along with an actual event that happened in my life. It's better if am able to tell you stories about things I've seen evil to show you what it actually looks like without you having to go through it. Did I make some sacrifice like Jesus? No. That's not what I'm saying. But each and every one of you goes through things in your life that God expects you to learn from. Do you understand? That what's the New Testament say? That which was written before which is for our learning. Your past matters. What are you learning from it? Right? That's the key with that's the I always joke around with people like, oh God, if I had a time machine, I would slap the crap out of me if I was back in those days, because sometimes I did some really stupid things. But in reality, do you know why we're never going to be able to get in a time machine and go up in the past? Because we're supposed to be learning it in real time. You're supposed to be learning your mistakes in real time so that you don't make them again. There are religions out there that teach, oh, well, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Yes, it does. It matters in this way. I can't teach you about homelessness unless I've experienced it. I'm not qualified to teach you about the experiences of homelessness unless I have been homeless. I'm not qualified to teach you about bipolar disorder unless I have bipolar disorder. But Daryl, there's lots of people that don't have bipolar disorder and they go to college. That's right, and that's why I don't listen to them. Sorry, I don't. If you read about a disease in the book, you can learn about it, and you can learn about the physical aspects of it, but you will never understand cancer unless you have it. Sorry. Does that mean you can't understand the plight that someone else goes through? I mean, maybe you've had a mother or father, or in the case of my mother, die of cancer. That if you've had someone pass away from cancer beside you, you can understand it, but you yourself can't. You yourself are not going through that pain. I'm sorry to tell you that. People don't like to hear that. People are like, oh, I understand. I'm not saying you don't understand. In fact, if you've seen what it does to a person, in fact, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I could have been there. I don't think I could have handled seeing my mom die. I can tell you now. But there are different levels to it. In other words, unless you've actually gone through something, can you physically understand what they're talking about? I have a couple friends of mine that have survived cancer, for example. They can tell me, and I listen to them because they had it and they survived it. My cousin Christy's one. In fact, she's the only. I just found out that most of my relatives left Wisconsin. I didn't even know that. Christy's still up there though, but she's a cancer survivor. But she'd also tell you, like, and one thing I remind her all the time about is that, yes, she's the mother of a child who has bipolar disorder. But she herself does not have bipolar disorder. That don't assume because she's his mother that she could actually physically understand that. You can understand some aspects if you've ever been depressed. I can explain to you certain things. You can be empathetic to a person that maybe you haven't gone through something. However, I cannot stand it when I hear someone say, oh, well, I understand. Why do you understand? because I've been sad before. No, I didn't say sad. I said depressed. Oh, well, I understand what it's like to... No, you don't. Stop saying that you do. Explain to me explain to me how you understand. And they can't. Most people who say stuff like that, they can't. And then they get mad because, well, you're saying I can't understand. I'm saying you can't. You can't. There's a difference between empathy and sympathy. You cannot understand what Jesus went through on that cross. You will never understand that. He didn't want you to understand it. He did it for you so you didn't have to understand it. He died on the cross so you did not have to die on the cross. Because that was what was required for sin, was blood. But the blood of, what does it say in Hebrews? For the blood, it is impossible for the blood of lambs and goats to forgive sins, to cover up sins. That's why his ultimate sacrifice was paid in his blood, so that you didn't have to experience it. He's not telling you that you should have to understand crucifixion. You just need to understand that he did something for you, that all of the stuff that and there was all the stuff that is considered sin to God, that you're offending him when he does that. That's what he's trying to explain to you. What I'm trying to explain to you when I talk isn't to try to get you to feel sorry for me, or to try to make you feel sad, or try to make to attack you because you've had a life where you didn't have that problem, and I had that problem. It's not to make you feel bad about you not being homeless, that kind of crap. There's a lot of people who will get on the camera and they talk about their life, and they try to make people feel bad about the things they went through because they didn't go through it. That's not what this is about. I do want you to learn from the knowledge that I give you. It's important, not to me, to you. It's your life, right? I have all the hope in the world, even after everything that's happened in the last 6 months. I have all the hope in the world for this, what I'm doing here, my own life. And I do worry. I worry about myself. I worry about myself. I worry about my friends. I worry about them because this stuff can be serious sometimes. Sometimes the world can be dark. I don't want you to go into the world. I want you to be a part of the world, and to especially if you're younger and you're going out in the world for the first time. I don't want you to go out in the world and not be prepared for it. I want you to be prepared for it. I want you to have all the weapons you need, all the armament you need. And so, Dwan, he had cerebral palsy, and he had a heart problem, bad enough that it eventually killed him. But he walked like that for as long as I can remember. And then the stuff that Dwan revealed to me about his past before I met him, because he was only 6 months older than me, it was awful. But we didn't talk about it to you guys to make you feel bad about it. You know what I mean? We wanted you to learn from it. It's about learning. It's about understanding. The actual concept is about understanding other people from their perspective. That's why I say it at the end of my videos. Hope, I told you, and I've said this before, hope is not an intangible thing. It's not something just out there. Hope is based upon trust. And trust is based upon time, consistency, and repetition. I said that in one of the videos that I just came up with. It's important for you to understand that. I don't want you to just believe me just because you're my friend, or just because you may know me, or just because you come to my channel and you may subscribe to me. I want you to trust me. That's what I want. I want you to see that over time I speak the same messages. Juan spoke the same messages up until when he passed away. I believe in everybody around me. I believe in you so strong. Just the last thing I'm going to say on this, and I'll let you guys go. Let you guys spend the rest of your holiday eating your whatever you eat. We're going to have ham tomorrow. But last thing. As much as I want you to believe my words and what I'm saying, believe in yourself and what you're doing. Let your actions bring forth the belief in yourself that can be overwhelmed by no one. That's how you know you've changed. Because there isn't anything that's going to attack it from then on. No one can attack me anymore. What are you going to do? You're going to tell me that I was homeless, that I prostituted? What are you going to do? No, of course I have. I admitted to it. I did. You can't attack me anymore because I was honest. That's what honesty does. It's terrible having to talk about some of these things, but you can't attack me for anything I've ever done because I'm not doing it now, so it doesn't matter. And if you're going to judge me for my past, maybe I should judge you for yours. It's not real fun, is it? That's why we don't judge people for people's past. Judge for your now. You walk forward in the now. So I want you guys to have a great weekend. I want you guys to have a great holiday weekend. Don't drink and drive, please. Be safe when you drive. When you go places. Be safe when you get there. You never know what happens in different places. There's bad things that happen everywhere. And there's good things too. Be understanding of one another, not just from your perspective, but from theirs. Be understanding of yourself, that you're not God. Remember, life is fleeting. You're not promised your next breath. That's why Dwan's not sitting here with me now. And until Monday, may the Lord of Light guide you in all things. Goodbye.